By the lovely Bill Carne from Pembrokeshire Sport. Very good morning to you, Bill.
Hi, Gina. Good morning, Tom. It's a nice crisp start to another Friday sport, yeah.
It is indeed. It's definitely colder out there, isn't it, Bill? I'm sure a few of these weekend teams are thinking, oh, we've got to get thermals and gloves now.
Well, I'm ashamed to say I couldn't sleep at 5:30, so I got up to watch the cricket. Didn't want to disturb Mrs. Khan. I poked my nose outside the door and promptly withdrew it. It is cold.
Yeah, extremely cold.
Well, and in fact, from the extreme cold today and this weekend to the extreme wetness of last week, Bill, there weren't many football matches on at all, were there?
No, I had
any sport.
You're right. I had the dubious pleasure of watching Goodwick United play against Merlin's Bridge, top of the table clash. To be honest, I wish I hadn't gone. 4 players sent off, not representative of how local sport should be, I feel strongly. But it's another weekend, full programme of rugby and football. So all's right with the world. And tonight, Gina, Haverfordwest County are playing Penabont at the Oggy Bridgemeadow Stadium. So below the cold, I'll be down there with an extra wrapping and my thermals on, and I'm going to watch that as well.
Amazing.
Make sure you've got a hat there, Bill.
Oh, I've got a choice. I've got my waterproof peaked one, which Mrs. Khan bought me with a woolly inside. And I've also got my Benny hat, my beanie hat. So,
I'd go for a woolly inside tonight. I think you'll need that one tonight.
Marilyn suggested. You women are so sensible.
Yeah. I know that you had the. I know that you went down to get it. I can't let you just gloss over it like that though, because we had a few predictions as to who was going to win that fixture, Bill.
I thought you were never going to ask us, right? If you remember, I said I thought Goodwick would win that. I think Gina more or less sat on the fence with me.
Yeah.
And you had the bottle to say you thought Middlesbrough would go there and actually win. And they did.
And
they won 3-2. I wish I could say I enjoyed it thoroughly, but I didn't. I don't like to see those sort of antics on a pitch with a referee who didn't deserve that. But there we are. It's done and dusted. The 4 players sent off will have to deal with their own shortcomings with the league officials. Less said about it after that, the better. But well done, Tom. You were right. But I have to say, your tip for Wales of 5-1 was just a little short of the mark. While we're a balanced show. Yeah, we're a balanced show, Gina, aren't we?
Well, exactly. Yeah, you have to see it from both sides. And, his head was starting to grow. It's now shrunk down back to size.
I didn't like to see those fist pumps this morning when he was
Yeah, well, in fact, just very briefly, Bill, a one-liner on the Welsh World Cup performances.
Well, listen, we're all disappointed, but it is what it is. And you can't fault the players. You and I both agreed in a chat this week, Tom. They were a little bit sort of laid back, I felt. Laid back's the wrong word. You'll give me the right word. I'm 75. They were sort of really non-competitive in some ways. I felt I wanted to see them tear into the opposition a bit more.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I'll remember most, sadly or not, was the singing of the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is the best. I'd watch Wales play New Zealand. I've watched top rugby and football in a lot of places. But I will never forget that singing. The Welsh fans and the Welsh team were amazing. Very proud to be Welsh during those games,
Yeah, they were great ambassadors for our small nation. I just wish that they had that little bit of tenacity and the nipping at the heels that got them there in the first place. So we'll see what happens and if they can find that spark again. That's what you're talking about in the week, Bill.
Yes.
And in fact, this time last week you were prepping for the Sport Pembrokeshire Awards.
Yes, and a wonderful evening it was, Tom. It was lovely to see you there. I know you can't be in the auditorium there because you're busy interviewing, and that was fantastic as well. But it was a memorable night. Everyone I've spoken to said that they will never forget the atmosphere from the audience. Again, brilliant. A packed house, but still comfortable. It was lovely. The people who won, the people who were finalists, people who came who'd been nominated and weren't finalists. It was brilliant. It was lovely to see so many kids on the fairground beforehand. And I won't tell them how many sausages you had, Tom, but I counted. I counted between 4 and 6. I can't remember quite what it was.
You're not far off.
He loves his food, does this boy?
Yeah. And Mr. Ellis even took away some in a silver foil to eat afterwards, which I thought was very nice.
I know, he pretty much emptied the whole thing off.
Gina, I'd love you to go and see it one year. You would be moved and
Yeah.
you would say, wow. I spoke to one fella there with a park car, Tom.
Yes.
He's come to the area and he said the only one he'd ever been to an award before was in Cardiff. It was held in a hotel. There were only the people who won and the sponsors. And he said that was about 40 people. He said, I've never seen anything like it. So it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was wonderful. And if you want to catch up on hearing from the finalists, those interviews conducted by myself and Toby, they're still available on the catch up at purewestradio.com. You can look back at that. But looking at local sport, then you've already mentioned where you're going this evening. It's a return to the Bridge Meadow after a month away, Bill, for the Bluebirds.
Yeah, and during that time, 1 week of inactivity because they weren't in a cup competition, but 2 wins in North Wales. Now, they would have been expected to win against Airbus. It was only a 2-1 win, but it's a win. But they went to Flint, who were 5th in the table, and won there as well. So maximum points from 2 games in North Wales. It doesn't happen to South Wales teams very often. So well done to Tony Pennock and the boys. And let's hope they have a good game tonight. They're playing against a very good side. If you remember, I'm sure Gina will as well. At the start of the season, there was huge anticipation. They went to Pennebont, having been top of the table, played 3 and won 2 and drew 1. And they lost up there 3-2. Bit of controversy with the game, but Pennebont are a good side. They got a very canny manager in Lee Griffiths who can still come on and score goals. And they're a good side. So it's a battle tonight again, but they all are, Tom, as we know.
Yeah.
So good luck to the Bluebirds tonight. I hope they come away with a win.
Yeah, so it'll be a game under the lights at the Yogi Bridge Meadow Stadium, and Pure West Radio providing some pre-match entertainment with Darcy DJ and Stuart Coombs from the gaming show, with Mags Optics are going to be there. So proper little return party to the Bridge Meadow. I'm looking forward to it. And looking then, you mentioned this West Wales Intermediate Cup then, Bill. This sees our Pembrokeshire teams potentially, have visitors and travel out of county. Yeah,
there's always interesting games, and funny enough, the clubs like going off on this. It's often a jaunt. They have a day out, and they go stay in Swansea in the evenings, and they want to do well in that. And we have won the West Wales Cup on several occasions with Goodwick and Aiken, obviously, Milford Athletic. So there's not Milford Athletic, sorry, Middlesbridge. Yeah, so there's lots of games there. The Swansea League used to be a Premier League. Now it's Division 1. So when I mention which sections they're in, this is the highest echelon for Swansea, and in that are Swansea, Neath, Carmarthen, and Pembrokeshire. So Clarby Road at home to St Joseph's, who are second in that Swansea top division. So that's a tough game. Carew, Gina are travelling to Bonamine, who are now in the second division in Swansea and are 8th. So I think you probably fancy Carew's chances there.
I was going to say Carew. Yeah, I'm going to go with Carew for that one.
Well, as someone who's a pretty good tipster, that'll boost Carew. Good job, I'm not tipping them, isn't it? Yeah. And undoubtedly, the top game, I suppose, is Goodwick United home to Roxburgh. Now, Roxburgh are third in the Swansea First Division, and they slammed Merlin's Bridge 4-0 at Merlin's Bridge in the last round. So they're a good side. That's going to be a real battle.
Tough game, that one.
Yeah. You want to give us a tip, Tom?
I'm gonna because Goodwick are going to be galvanised, I think, by last Saturday. I'm going to go for Goodwick.
Yeah, and me. What about you, Gina?
Yeah.
I'll have to go with Goodwick, won't I? I've got to go with us.
Oh, God.
Got to go with Pembrokeshire.
In that case, with the 3 of us, I'd say they got no chance. So there you go.
We've doomed the game already.
Yeah. Chris O'Sullivan's already
Goodwick.
wringing his hands. I'm meeting Chris for a coffee after, so I'll tell him we all tipped him. Aiken United home to Kilbrew Rovers, who are in the Neath Premier League, and they're 8th in that. So you'd have to fancy Aiken at home there.
Yeah.
Milford United play Neath Town. They're in the Neath Premier, but a second. Monkton Swifts travel to Ragged School now. They're a good side. They're in Division 2, though, funnily enough, at the moment, and they're top of that. And the top team in Swansea at the moment, and it's Tower Athletic. They're at home to Penna Robins. So come on, the Robins. They got a battle there.
That is
in
a
Division
battle.
1, very quickly, Fisher Sports are home to Kilgetty, 5th versus 4th. Merlin's Bridge are at home against Neyland, first versus 10th. And the bottom of the table clash, which everybody want to know the result of. St. Clair's, who are 11th, play St. Ishmael's, who are 12th. Battle of the Saints.
Yeah, again, was it St. Clair's came out on top of that on the last fixture between those? And if my memory serves me correct,
yeah,
so
St. Clair's used to be a good side. They're obviously not in a good year. Tish is struggling in that division after promotion.
They are. And then looking at the other shaped ball, in fact, we talked about Wales Football International. Let's have a brief word of the rugby internationals. Bill, the autumn series is over. Is Pivac toast?
Well, you were using the words. I know why, because that's what I said rather unwisely a year ago on the Monday night sports show, when I'd been told by someone from a high-ranking official that he was toast then, but he survived. And he is a survivor. But I don't see how we can carry on as we are. You know what I think of the Welsh Rugby Union at the moment? I don't think it's going as it should be. There's no interest. I don't care what they say in local rugby. There's ill-fated blinking cup competitions costing teams loads of money. So I think he has to go. Yeah. And people are talking about Warren Gatland. I see this talk of him replacing England as well. We're going to merge the teams. I don't know. But people are saying to me that I respect it's a backward step, and it is. But I wouldn't mind seeing Gatland come back. I had immense admiration for him. I met him a couple of times at events and interviewed him for our radio shows, and he was absolutely fantastic. And he did well for us. So I want to see a Welsh coach eventually there. I've got to be honest. There's talk of Scott Robinson. I love Canterbury Crusaders. They're my team in New Zealand. He's been epic there. So we'll wait and see. But on the front itself of the games, Narberth are at home in the league this week in the championship. They're playing Cross Keys. Narberth 5th, Cross Keys 4th. That's going to be a battle. I still think the Otters will win at home with that. Yeah. Then in Division 2, Crymych were 2nd. They're playing Hendy were 9th. So the Preseli men are sort of favourites there. Quite interesting if you want to know. I'm going to tell you anyway. At one time, I used to call them the Mountain Men.
Yeah. Right.
And a very good friend of mine from Preseli said, from the Preseli Hills said, would you mind not calling us that? Because it makes us sound as if we're idiots. And that was my first instance of wokery.
Oh.
And to my eternal discredit, I agreed to do it. So they're now called the Preseli Men.
The Preseli Men. I like that.
So we don't want any mountain men because the Crymych guys, those big hulking forwards, they're very sensitive. Pembroke and Bottom struggling. They're at Gosainen, who are 7th. That's going to be hard. And Penclough, the Cockle men are at home to Whitland. That's the bottom of the table class, really. 10th versus 11th. I hope Whitland can win that. Just very quickly in Division 2, Buryport played Tenby United 6v4th, and we got a tough local derby at the Obs, where Milford Haven, who were 11th, played Fishguard and Goodwick, who were 7th. So that's going to be interesting. You'd have to fancy Fishguard and Goodwick, but Milford at home are a bonny bunch, and I wouldn't bet against them. One game off tomorrow in Division 3, Pembroke Dock Quins versus Tregaron, who are bottom. Tregaron have got 8 players who can travel, so that's off.
Yeah.
And that's sad. Local derby, Neyland 6th versus St. David's 7th. Now, I don't want to hark back, but that was the game last year, which was abandoned after 29 minutes when the referee decided enough abuse was enough, and off he went.
Wow.
And I had the privilege of watching that game as well. I can pick them.
So there's no messing then. Don't mess around. Just get on with the game.
Just play a blinking game of rugby after a week's work, you know. So Happy West at home to Llanybother, Langham entertain Cardigan, and that's your lot.
Yeah, Tenby United, we've actually had a message from Chris Williams of Tenby United. Harry Williams is on the bench for Hartpury RFC against Ampthill in the English Championship tomorrow. That's pretty good going, isn't it?
It's amazing. And to when people are in Hartpury College, it's the feeder for Hartpury. And we've had people there before who it's a marvellous, marvellous thing, and we wish Harry every success with that. Yeah, great. Yeah, he's a very talented young boy. Tenby are a side that have got so many young players at the moment. And I admire Jonathan Evans and his sidekicks there, Andy Barlow and Ozzy Boswell. They're determined to pursue this youth policy, and it costs them sometimes. But they are playing rugby and they're developing for the club's benefit. I applaud them, I really do.
Yeah. And if you're watching this on our social media or listening, if you've got something to send us on WhatsApp, I've just put the number on the screen there, 01437 764455. Very quickly then, Bill, we'll cap off with some cricket. The ladies' indoor cricket, it went to, Cresselly were held last week, which meant that it went to a playoff. What happened?
Well, it turned out to be a bit of a damp squib, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, because I watched the final, I watched the games the week before where Cresselly lost and Hook won, so they both were level on points, and this playoff took place. And Cresselly are a really, really good side. They're bowling. Ava Gardner and Lauren Davis, who we've had interviewed a little while ago, they are so accurate. So they're good bowlers in the ladies' game, they are. And I thought that they would win it, but Hook put them into bat. 37 all out, Cresselly. They committed kamikaze with the runouts and lost their focus a little bit. All out 37, and Hook 38 for 1. They lost Kate Farr early, but then Casey Aaron, who's one of the Casey Aaron and Sam Rossiter are playing men's cricket all through the summer, and it shows. Casey was 19 not out. Sam Rossiter, she's done so much work this year with the organising it, and I take my hat off to her. She's been amazing with that. She lifted the silverware. It's this nice silver salver that they won then against Cresselly. But well done to both teams. I love the way, if you look on my website today, there will be pictures of them. There's one picture where both teams joined forces for a picture after the game. It's been amazing. And in the men's game, Nayland A missed out on a game because Llanrhian sadly couldn't get a team. But Nayland B, Callum Power, and Sam Lan did really well as they beat Pembroke Dock. Peter Kingdom was the star for them. And Pembroke Dock A lost to Haverfordwest. Well done to Haverfordwest.
Oh, yeah.
That's their first win of the season. Chris Phillips, Ashley James, and Jack Peters saw them home, and boy, were they pleased. It was a joy to see them.
Oh, good, because they've had a tough couple of years, Haverfordwest, on the weekend game and on the indoor, so it's good to see them have something to cheer about. And going back to that ladies' picture that you just mentioned, the enduring theme that has come through on these Friday updates is just how the spirit of that ladies' league has been played in from the off.
And you're right. And I would add the fact that they are improving immensely by playing. That's the important thing. They are, every one of them.
It's going to be interesting, actually, come to the summer when they get outdoors to see all this sort of, because it's training, really. That's what I sort of see it as over the winter now indoors.
Gina, you'd be a good advert for the game, because some clubs think it's beneath them in a way. It's not real cricket. It's not real cricket. It's not.
It's technique. It's technique, I reckon, building that.
Right. Yeah. Well done. You know your stuff. I can tell that. You tell Cliff he's a very lucky man cricket-wise, as well as every other way.
Yeah, I had to enjoy the cricket last night on telly as well for a while.
Yeah. And just to finish, Tom, the two sad moments in sport this week in the county. Jeff Sace, who was a great man with Langham cricket especially, and their rugby club, a lovely man. He passed away this week after a long illness. Commiserations to his wife Sarah, his sister Janice, Rick, and all the family. They're a very close community there. And Di Miller from Haverfordwest, Gordon's written a lovely tribute to him, because they were big pals. I was good friends, but Gordon was especially friends with Di. And he was with Haverfordwest and Pembrokeshire Rugby, and a great man on the horse racing. I managed to turf out a picture of him at Tricoid races. Lovely man. Genuine character. We use the word over much, but he was. And to wife Christine and the big family that they have, our condolences as well. Really sad for sport when that happens.
It is. It's really sad. And if you want to see that Gordon's tribute, and you want to keep up to date with all of the scores over the weekend, pembrokeshiresport.co.uk is where you need to head to, where there's lots of different editorials, and as I say, all the results and fixtures are there for you. Bill, thank you so much again for your time on this Friday morning. Enjoy an evening under the lights with your coffee at the Oggy Bridgemeadow Stadium. And looking forward to hearing all about it next week. And of course, if you're watching this, you can catch up with the results also on the Monday night Pure West Sports Show with Eaton Evans and Morris. And Bill, you were going to say something then?
No,
before I bring in your song.
Thanks to Gina. I will get my beanie, my Benny hat out, as I call them. I will get that out and wear that tonight. And when I'm warm, I think, thanks, Gina.
Yeah, lovely. Yes.
I love
And I'm
that.
going to thank you now, Bill, because it is our Feel Good Friday. I love your song choice every week. What surprise have you got for us this week?
Well, no surprise that it's back to the 60s.
Oh,
It's a song, I think, when you've got the music on the radio, you can sing along at the top of your voice to it. And it's Save the Last Dance for Me by the Drifters.
Oh, that's a cracker.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I may have already had a listen to it because it's such a good song. Bill,
it's lovely.
Thank you so much for your time here this morning. Enjoy your weekend of sport and this evening. And, we'll do it all again next week.
Yeah, thanks both. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. So on the way, we've got the Drifters, Save the Last Dance for Me. It's coming up to 7:30. It's Feel Good Friday. What do you want to hear? This is Bill's selection. We want yours as well. 01437 76 4455. You're listening to Pure West Radio.
Feel Good Friday with Pem's Paving.